Welcome back to Resilience Matters. Today's episode takes us back to a different chapter in Starr's history, when our campus was home to a residential program for youth. Many of the trauma-informed practices we teach today were developed through the work happening on that campus. You'll hear from Bryce, who came to Starr at 14 after struggling with substances, behavioral challenges, and juvenile detention. But at Starr, he encountered adults who saw beyond his behavior and helped him reconnect with his love of learning. Nearly 20 years later, Bryce is pursuing his MBA at Ohio State University while working as an insurance professional. And through Starr Commonwealth's Alumni Scholarship Program, he's receiving scholarship support to help fund his graduate education. This is a story about being seen, supported, and how trauma-informed care can change the course of a life.
So initially, I had intended to become a therapist. Seemed like a natural progression from my past, especially taking everything into consideration, right? And so I did my undergrad in psychology and sociology, and I ended up taking a role as a mental health case manager. And while it was a very enlightening experience, I quickly discovered that it might not be the best fit for me. It kind of culminated in myself and a client in a parking lot with another individual at a food pantry who was pretty animated, trying to fight us in the parking lot. So at that point, I kind of had a little bit of an insight that perhaps this wasn't going to be the role that I was aspiring towards. So I was kind of in a pinch at that time, and I ended up getting a role doing disability claims for another insurance company. And from there, they had an opening in workers' compensation, and it was kind of a natural fit with my customer service background and the degree that I got, and things kind of progressed from there. So I've been doing this for about a decade now. So now I get to handle the really fun, complicated files that have a lot of different scenarios, all different kinds of injuries. You get the attorneys involved. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've heard that before with a couple. I can think of two examples of people that I know who have gotten into some sort of mental health role, whether it's clinical social worker type of things. And then once it becomes a 5 days a week role, it's just really overwhelming, and living in that world of like constant trauma, and it can weigh very, very heavily on somebody, and then getting into situations like really volatile situations, like you said, in a parking lot, with someone ready to fight you. Like,
At
I'm sure that
8:30 in the
would be,
morning, yes.
yeah, right. Like, I've barely had my coffee and we're already here.
It was very, like I said, a very enlightening experience.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed a lot of the clients that I got to work with, but like you mentioned, very tough and seeing a lot of people going through a lot of really difficult times.
Yeah, yeah. So would you mind going back to when you were at Star, when you first were there, and just from others at the organization, they just said you had an inspiring story and you'd be willing to share. Would you mind just telling me a little bit about your
Of
time at Star?
course. Well, I'm flattered that I have an inspiring story. So thank you for that. Let's see. I would have been 14 years old.
Hmm.
Definitely a far cry from where life is at right now. I do believe, in retrospect, although, at the time I certainly didn't feel that way, that it really was a blessing.
Hmm.
And it almost felt like maybe something or someone was kind of watching out for me because I really avoided a lot of different scenarios that the people around me did not by being
Hmm.
sent to the program. And I was 14 years old. I basically thought at that point in my life I had the world figured out. I thought I was gonna do whatever I wanted to do and come and go as I please. I was hanging around a lot of the wrong people, getting involved with substances, running away from home. I was essentially an unruly
Hmm.
child, and I ended up doing a stint in juvenile detention for about a week. That was an experience.
Hmm.
And then shortly thereafter, I arrived at Starr. And the experience was very transformative for me. I think being in that environment, being removed from the outside influences that were having a really detrimental impact upon my life, paired with the really amazing staff that had, a really pivotal impact upon me. I remember one person in particular. It was I believe it was Aaron Warren,
Mhm.
Mr. Warren, he was my teacher there. I think I've kind of always had a love for academics and for reading, and that was something that he really fostered in me and brought back out, and that was something I was able to reconnect with once I was in that environment. It really did change my life.
Mm.
It's hard to put something that had such a large impact into something packageable and concise.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess one comparison that I can draw is some of the people that were around me prior are not here anymore. So my
Yeah.
life could have gone in a very different direction.
Mhm.
So, but I would say that's probably the main thing. I feel like it really helped bring me back to like my core essence and who I am, and it really fostered my love of learning again, which I feel has spurred me on to pursue the MBA like I am right now and get back in graduate school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So the people, you talked about the people. Do you think did they see you differently than maybe like, teachers at high school or you were probably just a
Yeah.
freshman in high school, right? Something about that age. You said 14?
Yeah, eighth grade I was when I
8th
came.
grade? Okay. So you
Yes.
were
No, it
8th
was a
grade.
7th grade. I can't remember. Would I have been at 14?
Yeah,
It
that's
tells you
true.
how long ago this
I
was.
guess 14 is like about 8th grade usually. Yeah, something like that. So
Yeah,
but you were
it was
middle
8th grade.
schooler. How did they, see you differently than maybe middle schoolers back at your home school?
I feel like I had a lot of adversarial relationships with my teachers back home. I was constantly in trouble, and honestly, I think that was kind of something I started to absorb over time, and it was
Mm,
creating it's so funny how you end up identifying with patterns that may not even necessarily be of your own making, but after being reinforced so many different times from outside influences, it kinda
mhm.
starts to take on a life of its own, and I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
take
Mr.
on that
Warren.
identity or something.
Exactly, exactly, and it snowballed from there, but I think, Mr. Warren really was able to look at things independently and kinda see that that was something that I had a love for, and that's why he was able to help bring that out in me because I left with a 4.0,
You
so
did?
that was one really nice thing, yeah.
Mhm. How much time did you spend at Star?
It was 9 months?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then you went back to, were you near Star? What like did you live nearby, like in this county or in that county, or no, were you from a ways away?
I am originally from Findlay, Ohio, so it would have
Oh, okay.
been, yeah, I wanna say it was like 2 or 3 hours away at the
Mhm.
time.
So how did it go? Like, you went back and you started high school back in Findlay, huh? And did you feel kind of like back on the path, after that experience at Star and kind of reconnected with your like intellectual curiosity? Did you maintain your GPA and all that stuff? Or was it, how did that go once you returned?
It was a learning experience.
Hmm.
I definitely feel like I was equipped with the right tool set, the right mindset, and kind of like the slate being wiped clean in a way. But
Hmm.
as you know, being a teenager and starting, and I actually changed schools. So when I came back, I left the old
Okay.
school I was at prior and started in a new environment. So it was a little bit of a shock and a learning experience. But I feel like that key component of the academics really did remain with me, and I think that really bolstered my confidence and enabled me to do pretty well because it did spur me on when I was done. I knew I wanted to go to school and go to college, and I think that
Hmm.
kinda helped me formulate the idea that I wanted to move into some type of work with people,
Sure.
so that's where I really feel that my experience was definitely key.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the Star of today, and there's a lot more emphasis put on training educators in the public school system or in any school system to
Mhm,
to be able to support people like the staff at Star was able to support you, to see
mhm.
this behavior is a reaction to something else. I need to look deeper. I need to understand what the source of this behavior is. And so hopefully, theoretically, with more of that training around the country, hopefully more teachers in the high schools and middle schools are actually able to have that trauma informed approach.
Hey, what if Floyd Starr said, there's what did he say? "There's no bad kid." I can't
Yep.
remember what he said. I
Yeah,
wonder
there's
how
no such thing as a bad child as the that
there you go.
there you go. That's it. So then, like, how did you remain with Star? Has it been a while since you've been in touch, but then you heard about the scholarship program, so you reached out? Like, what's the story of that? How did you find out about the scholarship program?
I kinda similar to what you were saying, I had been out of touch for a while, and then
Hmm.
I was kind of thinking over my different options. I applied to school on a whim. I
Hmm.
knew that it was something I had always wanted to do. I knew I always wanted to get a master's degree, especially after I had left the previous program I was in, because I did 2 semesters of a master's degree to become a therapist before I kind of moved on from that venture. I applied on a whim and I got in, and I wasn't fully expecting that to necessarily happen, but I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "I guess the things have aligned and this is what the universe wants me to do." So, as I was kinda sourcing everything and thinking about it, obviously, as you know, school is, it's not cheap. So, I was exploring my different resources, and I recalled that there was a scholarship program through Starr, and that was when I reached out. And amazingly enough, you guys have been gracious and have awarded me some funds, which has enabled me to continue through the program, and I'm very appreciative.
There's this scholarship program, and I don't think people know about it. That's another reason it was like great to talk to you. I was like, we need to let people know
Yeah.
these funds are there and they're accessible, like very accessible. It's just a matter of asking to try.
I
Have you ever come back to Star? Have you ever come to one of the Night of Stars fundraiser events, or have you like passed through Michigan? Have you ever done that or no? Yeah.
although
Maybe you don't want to, or
I would definitely be curious to see how the program has evolved because I know a lot of changes have taken place since I was there.
yeah.
More people are coming to mind too as we're talking about everything. I'm having
Hmm.
flashbacks. Who was our therapist? Her name was Kelly. I can't remember her last name, but she led our group therapy every day. And I feel like that was such an insightful experience because even now I'm like a self-help junkie. I'm constantly reading,
Hmm.
any type of book that has like a spirituality bent to it or something about evolving and improving yourself is almost borderline an obsession for me. So I love to read, and I feel like those early experiences are what really, like, got my interest in psychology and those types of things going. So there was a lot of people. There's Miss Sanders, she was really cool. She was one of
Sanders.
the Yeah, Miss Sanders, she
Hmm.
was one of the aides in the residence. She was kinda like the mama bear.
Hmm.
She didn't play.
She didn't play. I suppose that was part of the deal there, you know?
I made a lot of amazing friends in the program too.
Did you stay in touch with anybody else like in who you met there?
There was one person I did stay in contact with, and I saw them a couple times afterwards, but I have no idea what they're doing now.
Hmm. I guess I was going back to you were just like naming people, all these adults that
Uh-huh.
were there who you connected with, and that must have felt different to have numerous people that you feel like I have a connection with these people, they see me,
Yeah.
right? Was that kind of a surprise to come from where it felt like you were always just being told you were a bad kid maybe at the middle school, and then it's like, no, all these people actually see me?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because I think I felt being who I am, I've always been outside of the box a little bit.
Mhm,
But, especially in small town America, if you're someone who's different from a lot of people, I think it becomes painfully apparent in a lot of respects, and people don't hesitate to point those things out to you. So you already start
mhm,
to take on a bit of a identity with things. And yeah, I remember even with the people that, and I don't want to sound like a martyr or a victim, but at the end of the day, I remember even people that I felt should have been protecting me and had my best interests at heart didn't. God, and
mhm,
even like the year before I came, I was always in so much trouble at school. I want to say I had over 10 detentions that year before I came. It was crazy. I was always in some trouble. But it was so nice to be in an environment where you're right, it was much more objective and supportive and understanding.
mhm.
I just wonder a lot what would have happened had I not gone. I feel like things would have, well, I guess we can only speculate, but
Yeah.
I guess that things probably would have been very different for me.
It's like from retrospect, and I guess well, I don't know if this is your retrospect, but for in my position, like knowing what I know now after kind of working with Star for so many years, and it's just kind of mind-boggling how people don't see children this way. That was kind of the norm at schools, to just be like, this kid needs detention 10 times or needs to be
Yeah.
suspended over and over throughout the year because they can't follow our rules, instead of just looking this much deeper to say, like, what's going on? Let's find out what's going on. Why this person is acting out. And it's so hard to look back now and see, how could you see it any other way?
Things were
These are
different.
children. These are 14-year-olds.
Even
Yeah.
even 20 years ago, it's surprising how different the climate is, I
Yeah.
and I was a very ornery, very energetic child, so I was not necessarily easy to deal with. But maybe not now either. I get that feedback from some people, but
I mean, none of us are for everyone. Whatever. We find our people.
exactly.
I really appreciate talking, just to hear your story, and also just to hear, like, how you found out about the scholarship program, because I want more people to know. I want way more people to know that this is a resource that they have available to them. Anything else that you kind of wanted to share? Wanted to have the opportunity to share?
Just an overall message and conveyance of my gratitude. I'm
Mhm.
very, very appreciative of the funds that are being granted to me. It's enabling me to get through this program. And I don't know, just gratitude overall for the program. Like I said, things could have been very different, I think, in a way. I don't know about you, but I am a very spiritual person. I can't necessarily define everything or put schematics and
Mhm.
specifics behind all of it, but I do believe in a lot of instances there's higher forces or protection at play in certain things, and it almost feels like I was guided there and it was meant to happen.
Mhm.
It's just really, I don't know, it's really special that it's like a full circle moment and these things are happening, and I just
Mhm.
hope the people that I made contact with back then, that I can make them proud in a sense, and that, those things did touch my life and they really did change me, and I'm trying to kinda carry those things on and do the best for myself and the people around me. So hopefully the scholarship can do that for other people that were in the program too.
Yeah.
Think the world
Amazing.
needs
Yeah. The
that
world
really
needs
badly
that.
right now. It's just more, I don't know. I don't have the answers, but especially with AI and everything changing so quickly, I think people who can
Yeah.
embody the human component and have a level of empathy for other people, especially in such a polarizing climate and so much opposition from other people and fear. I think right now the world really needs people who can come from a place of empathy and love. And I think that's something that these difficult experiences help me learn and give me a perspective on.
Yeah, amazingly put. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the people that you came in contact with at SAR would be very proud to know, very happy to know what you're doing with your life, and that you're continuing to live with that empathy. And I'm sure they would be thrilled. And I hope maybe they will find out. Maybe I'm going to ask my coworkers who have been at Star for, decades, if they know Aaron or Kelly or uh,
'Cause I can't
Miss
remember her
Sanders. Oh,
first
that's right.
name.
Miss Sanders.
Yeah,
I'll ask if they know any. I'm sure they do. This, but well, the last thing, what is your master's program and where?
of course. So I'm doing an MBA at Ohio State at the Fisher College of Business.
The Fisher
So
College
really
of Business.
awesome program. It's been an amazing experience. There's a lot of amazing people in the program. We have people from all walks, a lot of physicians and medical staff because of the hospital being there, consultants, people in marketing. And then you have people like me who have a different background that's not necessarily business related. They are now trying to add more to their repertoire and getting some additional business acumen. But with the space I'm in insurance, I really do love doing workers' compensation. It lets me kind of blend my ability to connect with people and something I enjoy doing kind of with a strategy side, like somebody, and especially in doing investigations too, like, with my background and things I've been through, like I love doing the investigations. I'm just hoping that this degree will bulletproof me because of all the AI changes that are taking place in my industry.
Yeah.
I think by
Mhm.
2027, 2028, so many things are going to be automated. But I also am
Oh,
hoping maybe I'll pivot into, you know, maybe some type of implementation role or maybe even something more client facing. We'll see. I think there's a lot of different avenues I could take.
mhm. That's a really smart move to think of it in terms like with it considering AI.
Like, yeah, it may be able to replicate and fake these things, but at the end of the day, can it ever truly have the human spirit? I don't know.
Find out for sure. Nice. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you for your
Hey, you're
time.
very
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a very nice day. It was very nice meeting you.